So 9 out of 10 people are going to experience cataracts in their lifetime. It's just a natural part of growing up and getting older, unfortunately. Where the cataract happens is in this part of the eye. This is the lens of the eye. The lens is in charge of filtering the light from the outside. So light streams in, gets filtered through your lens, and gets funneled to a really fine point to the back of the eye called the retina, which is connected to the optic nerve, which is connected to your brain. So light streams in, gets funneled to the point, sends those the lights over to your brain, which then makes images. Therefore, we have eyesight. So the lens is really, really important. This lens is made out of tissue. The tissue in our body is really, really flexible. So we need this to be as flexible as possible, because when we go into a dark room, you know how our pupil constricts or dilates and it gets really, really big. Therefore, our lens is stretching really, really wide and getting bigger to let as much light in so we can have better night vision. Vice versa, when we walk into the direct sunlight, our pupil constricts and gets really, really small. So then our lens is constricting really, really small, so it doesn't let those harmful UV lights or UV rays to the back of our eye. So we need this little lens to be as flexible as possible. However, as we age, like the rest of the tissue in our body, it starts to be less flexible, it starts to harden, and it starts to cloud over. So then it doesn't have that range of movement anymore. It's not able to stretch out really wide, it's not able to shrink down really small, so you're having a really hard time focusing your eyes and everything. So I don't know if you can see the little like grooves in here. Layer by layer, your cataract starts to form. That means that the lens starts to harden. As it starts to harden from the inside out. So then it clouds over, it starts to deposit little pieces of tissue. So you might be experiencing some floaters because those pieces of tissues are floating around in the back of the eye and all of that liquid. You said that you were having some trouble with the colors as well. The cataracts tend to mute the colors or not be able to see the full color scale, because color and light go hand in hand. So if this is clouded over and you're not able to do those range of motions, you're not able to see the colors, the lights, even things that appear to be a straight line, they could be a little wiggly as well. Especially at the nighttime, you might be seeing halos around the lights and everything. It's all because of this clouded lens. So it's not very uncommon. Like I said, 9 out of 10 people are going to experience that in their lifetime. That's just part of growing up and getting older. Luckily, we have found a solution for it. So what Dr. Clark is going to do during surgery is he's going to make a small incision up at the corner of your eye. He's going to get your natural lens out and replace it with one that will look like this. He's going to insert that, and it's going to be flush just like that in the back of your eye, or I guess more the front of your eye. This lens is going to fit in the same capsule that your natural lens fit in. The reason that it has these little arms is so it can hook on to your muscles around it, and that way it is able to do all of the movements it needs to, and that way we don't really have to stitch it in. It can just grow around it and hook right into it, reducing the risk of infection inside the eye as well. Do you have any questions in pertaining to that? Wonderful. So like I said, it takes a full 8 minutes for this whole process to happen, from the incision to when he closes you back up. You will be in the hospital for about 2 hours though, from pre-op and all the way until we release you. That's about a 2-hour long appointment. So I have this information for you. On here is my direct line and my email in case you need to get in touch with me. You can send me that link as well. If you need to get a hold of the doctor, if you need to get a hold of the facility, please let me know. I am your point of contact. So any questions, anything, just let me know. Actually, put that right there. We also hear these questions all the time, so we figured we'd just go ahead and write the answers down to them. They're things like, do I need a driver? Will I be able to stay overnight in the hospital? Yes, you will need a driver, and no, you will not stay overnight. So very simple things like that. If you have a question and it's not answered anywhere on this packet, feel free to reach back out to me. There's a few things for before surgery and after surgery, a few instructions. The main one before is you have to come in fasting the morning of your surgery. So nothing to eat or drink from midnight the night before. Of course, I will remind you of this when I give you your check-in time, but it's a good little handout, a good reminder. For after the surgery, there's a few instructions as well. You're going to see on here that says for retina patients only. Go ahead and ignore that because everything else does pertain to you except the retina part. The three main things that we're going to mainly ask you not to do is for after the surgery is don't lift anything heavier than 10 pounds after the surgery for the first week. Don't bend over for a prolonged period of time for the first week as well, because we're not going to completely stitch in that lens. We don't want you to bend over and that lens to just fall out of its place. You want to give it enough time to heal. So you can bend down, put your shoes on, pick something up from off of the ground, but nothing that requires you to be on your hands or knees for a minute and a half or longer. You are going to go home with an eye patch. You have to wear that eye patch for 24 hours after your surgery, and then you don't have to wear it during the daytime, but you do have to wear it at night to go to sleep for the first week after your surgery. That way it prevents you from rubbing it too hard that you don't notice it or anything as well. I do suggest that you shower with the eye patch as well, just because we don't want any soap or any debris getting in there as well, or any hair. I get a lot of hair in my eye, so also that. You should not be in any kind of pain after the surgery. You will have a little swelling in your eye. It might be a little irritated, but you shouldn't really be in any pain. If you need to, you can take something for it, like ibuprofen or Tylenol or anything you may like. But we are going to give you some eye drops. One is a steroid, and another one is a numbing drop. That numbing drop is going to help with that irritation. The eye is going to think it has an eyelash in its eye instead of an incision. So it's going to feel very irritated, it's going to be watery, and it's going to be red. Those numbing drops should help soothe that completely. Speaking of medications, there's a few that you can and cannot take the morning of your surgery. I will go over everything that you are taking, and I'll let you know which ones you can and cannot take. But rule of thumb is no vitamins or supplements the morning of your surgery. And this is just a good little cheat sheet. We do have a separate cancellation policy. I see that you already did sign it, but this is just a copy for you. And just as a reminder, a no-show or a cancellation is a $200 fee, just because it's really hard to get time in the operating room. So I do ask for a 2 weeks notice if you do need to cancel. However, I understand that emergencies happen. So if you are coming down the road and all of a sudden you get a flat tire, you just won't make it, give me a call, and as long as you're willing to work with our schedule, I'm willing to work with yours. So we can definitely figure that out. And lastly, you must have somebody drive you for your surgery. Reason being is we're not going to put you completely under general anesthesia, but we are going to give you a sedative. Most of the patients end up falling asleep with the sedative, but you are technically awake during the surgery. That sedative works great to not make you care about all of the work that Dr. Clark needs to do in your eye, but it also makes you not care about other people on the road. So please make sure that you have a driver, that way we get you home safe. Any questions? Wonderful. Well, that was really all I had for you. All of this is going home with you, Miss Julia. Oh, it's right here. And then your next appointment is with Dr. Clark. It's your pre-op appointment. I have you down for next Tuesday, the 25th at 10:40 here in Durango. And this is just your little appointment card. Alrighty, well, that was all. I went ahead and sent your measurements off to Dr. Clark. In the appointment for the cataract, or for the appointment for the pre-op, He will talk with you to see which lens would be best suited for your needs, which it really seems from what I saw it's going to be the standard lens. That one is the one that's 100% covered by insurance. If you do decide to do an upgraded lens, that is an out-of-pocket expense. We do.
How much?
It kind of depends. Our most expensive one is $1,700 per eye. And that one is the multifocal one, so it gives you distance and near vision, so it just helps you with both of those. If you get the standard lens, especially because you have a little bit of an astigmatism, you might still need glasses after that, but it shouldn't be a super high prescription, and that cloudy and blurriness and the colors should definitely clear up. But yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.